What is the sensitive period for sensorial exploration? Sensitive periods are critical to a child's development, and they inform many Montessori practices. Understanding sensitive periods can support parenting, caregiving, and educating in many positive ways. Sensitive periods occur exclusively in the first plane of development from birth to 6 years of age. They are periods of time when a child has a heightened ability to develop a skill or acquire knowledge quickly and with ease. They can be thought of as explosions in a child's development that will serve as the foundation for characteristics that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. Others may consider them a type of compulsion, where a child becomes obsessed with acquiring a specific skill or obtaining new knowledge. For instance, when a child becomes so interested in learning to pull themselves upright and continues to attempt to do so over and over again, so much so that they skip their nap in order to continue practicing this skill without fatigue. Sensitive periods can help us as adults to understand a child's interests and to follow the child as we introduce activities that align with those interests and further promote brain development through the creation of a carefully prepared environment. Each of these sensitive periods provide us with a unique opportunity to greatly influence a child's growth and development. Some sensitive periods are so noticeable that even those unfamiliar with the Montessori method would be able to recognize them. For instance, the Montessori sensitive period for movement in the form of walking occurs between 12 to 15 months of age and is easily recognizable. Recognizing other sensitive periods in a child's development might be easier than you think as well. Have you ever wondered why a child wants to repeat the same song or story what seems like a million times? It may seem unnecessary to us as adults, but these are classic symptoms of sensitivity. The repetition is never tiring for the child, and they seem to find great joy or peace in what they're doing. They have a high tolerance for failure within this repetition as well, as they exert meaningful effort. You may also observe sensitive periods by watching for a restful and tranquil state that develops at the culmination of an activity after a period of much intense concentration and repetition. Other characteristics of sensitive periods might include mimicking and compulsive or obsessive behaviors. Interrupting a child when they're in the middle of an intense sensitive period can result in a powerful emotional response, such as a tantrum. Break a routine that a child is attempting to understand and master, like getting dressed, bath time, or bedtime, and some children might emotionally fall apart. The terrible twos, for example, are often just an exaggerated reaction to small disruptions in order that might not even be perceived by the adult, but are a big deal to the child. This is because they're likely in a sensitive period for learning, and their sense of order, is being interrupted. Being attuned to these moments of strong emotional response can also help us as adults to identify a child's sensibilities. Sensitive periods manifest themselves in two very distinct ways: positive and negative. Signs that a positive manifestation is occurring include intense focus, joy, and tremendous effort and activity. These are signs that a child's needs are being met by the environment and that they're able to fully explore their interests. In a negative manifestation, however, the child's environment does not provide them with what they need in order to develop a certain sensitive period. This can often be very frustrating for a young child and causes big feelings. It's important to know that there's no set timeline for when sensitive periods occur within the plane of development within which they exist, or how long they might last. The timing of these sensitive periods is unique to each and every child. The end of a sensitive period should be recognizable through observation, as a child will become disinterested in an activity or material and will grow tired of engaging in the task. Sensitive periods are transitive states. Once the aim of a particular sensibility is accomplished, the period disappears. Sensitive periods are never relived or regained. They do not occur in a specific order, and a child may experience multiple sensibilities at one time. It's also important to note that if a sensitive period is missed, this does not mean that the child will not master that skill or acquire that knowledge. It simply means it may involve less joy, and the process may require more time or effort on the child's part to reach mastery, similar to that which is required of an adult attempting to learn a second language. Dr. Maria Montessori stated that when the sensitive period has disappeared, intellectual victories are reported through reasoning processes, voluntary efforts, and the toil of research. And from the torpor of indifference is born the weariness of labor. Between birth to around 5 years of age, children are refining their senses of taste, smell, touch, sight, and sound. This period is marked by a fascination with sensorial experiences, which results in children learning to observe and make increasingly refined sensorial discriminations. Providing children with rich sensory experiences that engage these senses is absolutely key during this period. To encourage and promote this sensitive period for refinement and exploration of the senses, adults should create a prepared environment that's rich in sensorial experiences for the child. Provide access to a rich outdoor environment where additional sensorial experiences can occur, and introduce new and exciting foods. For the 5 different senses, you might provide a child with activities like smelling flowers on a nature walk or smelling jars, looking at art or books and identifying visual differences. Rough versus smooth or light versus heavy works on the shelf. Tasting bottles and toys for mouthing. And listening to different types of music, playing different instruments, or learning a second language. There are many Montessori materials developed specifically for the refinement of a child's senses. In fact, there is even a particular area of the Montessori environment and curriculum known as sensorial. Some of these activities include color tablets, knobbed and knobless cylinders, the brown stair, the pink tower, and the red rods. Maria Montessori reminds us the sensitive period. It comes for a moment, but its benefits last for a lifetime. For parents and caregivers practicing Montessori at home, and for classroom guides, understanding these sensitive periods can not only help us to help set children up for success, but can also make our lives easier by helping children remain engaged and joyful in their activity. Since most babies and toddlers are often unable to communicate their needs or innate interests during these first 3 or 6 years of life, it is our job as adults to educate ourselves and to help support them along the way. By knowing about sensitive periods, parents, caregivers, and guides can begin to create a Montessori environment that is tailored to each child's individual needs and interests, helping them to refine their skills and to develop knowledge during this incredibly crucial period of their lives. Once again, we'd love for you all to share with us in the comments an example of the sensitive period for tiny details and small objects that you've observed, and how you've prepared the environment and followed the child with this interest. And remember, we have lots of other really wonderful videos, so make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along on all of our social media platforms. Until next time, have a wonderful day.